Yeah, welcome back to DXB today, where we're talking all things athletics. Not so much, just the athletics, but more the mindset. We are bringing together athletes and trying to work out, is there a special ingredient that they all share? What is that special ingredient? Well, we've just bowled you a couple of googlies with an international cricketer, and now we're going to turn our attention to the world of track and field and, of course, football. Next guest is a 19-year-old football player and, of course, athlete making a name for herself in the world of sports through her discipline and her dedication to the game. Please welcome to DXB today, Julie Kiwan. Thank you so much indeed for being with us. Great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Julie, good to have you join. There are two strands to this story that I need to get to the bottom of first and foremost. We want to find out more about Julie, and we want to find out more about the club as well, FC Banaat. So let's start with you first and foremost. How did you get into football?
First, it's because of my twin brother actually, because he would take me with him and we would go to the neighbors and play football. And we had this very strict curfew. So we'd get yelled at for coming late, but all we do is just play football outside.
But it wasn't your first sport, is that right?
No, it wasn't.
So you've competed at the highest level in your age groups for Lebanon.
Yes.
On the track, is that right?
Track and swimming.
Track and look, just add the swimming in there as well. Why not, throw another sport in there. So you've achieved at the highest level and now signed for FC Banaat, is that right?
Yes.
Tell us more about the club.
Well, it was a very last-minute decision because I didn't know if I could make it to Dubai. So my friend here, she got me. I was an hour and a half late to the trial, but I still made it, and I don't know, I got accepted, and it was a very, very nice season. A long one, but a really interesting season.
Yeah.
And so what challenges did you face when you started playing professionally, like in this team?
I mean, mentally it was hard because you set expectations for yourself because you're the only one who knows your true potential. So I was always scared of making mistakes at first, and just realizing that you're competing in first division, seeing the pitch, how big the pitch is, that you're playing 90 minutes. You're like, can I actually do that? Am I capable of lasting 90 minutes? So mainly expectations in myself a lot.
Interesting. Julie, I'd love to understand why football and not swimming or track?
So football is something that I have always liked, but I never got the courage to say it out loud.
Oh, wow.
So I would see my brother and his friends play, but I never dared to say to my parents, yeah, I want to sign in an academy, because it was seen as a guy sport before. So my friends would encourage me, even my brother, he would tell me, you could go pro if you want to, because you played with guys all your life and you have a base. So just go for it, you never know. I mean, just try. So this is what I did, and here I am.
Good advice, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic advice. And that's a lot of people need that strong background of family. So tell us more about your family. Do you come from a sporting family? Yeah, because that's what...
I mean, they don't do a lot, but my mom, she was encouraging me at a very, very young age to start sports. Like with swimming, I was like 6 years old maybe. And she was always like, yeah, sports are... You know when your mom tells you something, she's like, you're gonna understand when you grow up. I'm at this age right now, I'm like, oh, you're right, mom, you're right. So yeah, listen to your mom.
Moms are always right.
You're 19 years old. You've got the extraordinary future ahead of you, seemingly in whichever sport you choose to pursue as well. But in terms of, so that means the determination is there, without a doubt. The determination to achieve, the determination to be willing to leave home, to play the games that you want to play as well. What about the sort of discipline as well? Has the discipline got better? Does the discipline change as well from the swimming training to the football training?
Yeah, I mean, something that helped me build the discipline was gym training, because it makes you realize that even if you don't feel like training, you're gonna go, because you're looking into the future, like something that's gonna help you on the long run, not something I want today. So the discipline helped me for the trainings that I didn't want to go to because it's far or because I felt like I was tired, but I still managed to make it.
Interesting. I have one more question for you. How have you seen the other sports that you play, like swimming and track, add value to you today as a football player?
It's a hobby. Still something I used to disconnect. Like now in the off season, I go swim alone. Like I have a 50-meter Olympic pool in the building.
Okay.
I train or running, I just go for runs and maybe sign for a marathon soon, I don't know. But I keep them as a hobby to disconnect, you know?
So that mindset that you have, like for those other sports, how do you translate that now into football? Do you approach it in a different way? How do you, like, you're going to go into a big game, or you're going to go and swim in a swimming tournament or a gala? How do you approach football now compared to the other sports?
I feel like with football it's easier because I have a team, you know, and we have a really, like, a strong bond. So just the presence of my teammates, the presence of my coach, of the manager, it helps calm down the nerves, honestly. Because I feel like my family's there, they're waiting for me, so it's easier for me.
It's a really good point, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the difference between an individual and swimming is a seriously individual sport. I know you've got a big team around you in terms of coaches and the family support, but it's very different from a team sport like cricket or football.
Like, we all lose together. We win together, we lose together, we take care of each other, so.
So I like, as you said, your mom pushed you to join these sports. My mom pushed me to join these sports, but I never went ahead and continued on. So what type of mindset can you have or help develop to be able to continue pursuing the sports that you've been doing in, say, high school or even in kindergarten, for example?
You know, I'd say it's the passion, and because I competed young, I always knew that I wanted to go further and take it to the next level. So at like 10 years old, I was like, yeah, I know I want to be an athlete when I grow up.
I think most athletes will agree with you. I think most athletes know at a very young age that they want to be an athlete. In this young life so far, what is the one thing that you will take away as a learning that say, this is going to stay true for the rest of my life?
That if you miss 100% of the chances you don't take. And you never know what's going to happen. So try.
Yeah.
Try.
One thing you don't need to try to do is to get into the team for FC Banaat at the moment. I love the Banaat story. It's such a great story. First all-female team here, competing, as you say, in the first division as well. Taking football to a whole new level here, not just in Dubai, but across the region as a whole. Attracting talent from across the region, giving them a platform. Talk to us about the first season, because we've just completed the first season, and what's in store for next season.
Well,
A bigger contract, a bigger deal, obviously, for you, yeah?
yeah, there is going to be a bigger deal. Maybe.
Love it.
Maybe, but like for first season in first division, it was very interesting. Like, just, you know, you realize that, oh my God, I'm playing in first division. Like, even like my friends in Lebanon, they're like, yeah, they support you, and the support is overwhelming. And just meeting people and saying like, yeah, I'm part of Banaat FC, like, it's something I'm proud of.
Good
know?
results?
Yeah,
Yeah?
good results.
Where'd you finish?
We didn't finish where we wanted.
Okay, that's fine. That's a
But-
very diplomatic answer. I like that
Yeah.
as well.
We didn't finish where we wanted to, but you know your true potential. You know the coach believes in us, we believe in us, the manager believes in us. So hopefully we'll make it where we want to next season.
And go again next season.
Yeah, of course, give 1,000%.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Julie, you've got an old soul. I see you probably coach the team later on as well. I could see you doing that as well. You're wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll be definitely looking out for you in the future, for sure. Thanks, Julie. Now, offering a new way on staying on track for a happier and a healthy life. Today's spotlight is on a first-of-its-kind smart pharmacy supporting healthcare providers in the UAE. This is Sarah Miller from MDBX Health.
My name is Sarah Miller. My company is called MDBX Health, and we've been set up to support patients with managing chronic disease between appointments. MDBX Health supports patients with managing medications when they suffer from chronic disease. So 2.5 million UAE residents suffer from chronic disease, and most of them don't take their medications. So what we do is support them, make sure they do, and ultimately that can give them 15 years more life, much better quality of life, and a much happier life. So we've been very lucky to have a lot of support from government entities. We've been backed by the Mohammed bin Rashid Innovation Fund. We've had support from government entities in Abu Dhabi specifically, Abu Dhabi Public Health, Zayed Higher Organisation, which has given us the opportunity to run pilots with people of determination and senior citizens. So Our milestones, or our most impactful milestones, has been the ability to be able to support the UAE's most vulnerable populations. So we want to build digital bridges between the really awesome parts of the terrestrial health system. So here we have amazing hospitals, amazing doctors, amazing clinics, but the problem that we find is that patients are not connected to that system, not closely at least. So we want to see in about 5 years, almost everybody in the UAE connected to their families, connected to those facilities, and connected to all of the resource that the health system has to offer. And we plan to build those bridges. Dubai is the ideal place to do business because it's so open-minded. To be able to execute any kind of innovation here is possible, whereas in other countries, other cities, it's not feasible. Here we don't have to shoehorn ourselves into the regulations because the regulations are open-minded. Here is the right place to be doing this kind of innovation, establishing any kind of startup, to be totally honest. And the support, particularly from a female founder perspective, is incredible. So it's amazing here.
Another great health initiative here in Dubai, MDBX Health. A big thanks to Sarah Miller. Right, that was the spotlight, wasn't it? Time now for the roundup with Matha.
Well, thanks, Tom. For the first time ever at any Olympic event, competitors in Paris will have access to a mindfulness and relaxation area called the 365 Athlete 365 Mind Zone, along with services to counter cyber harassment and bullying. Competitors will also be offered a mental helpline and a virtual reality headset for meditation, sleep pods, and even art activities, all in a low lighting environment designed to be soothing and quiet. That sounds like a spa to me. I would love to be part of that.
That is fantastic. And I think, do you know what? That's well needed. It's been something that's needed for ages, years and years. I remember when, back in the day, you might remember, Tom, when Glenn Hoddle introduced a lot of things for the English football team. And people, it was frowned upon, and people were like, what's this hokey pokey stuff? This is weird. But now it's come back around, and this is something that's needed in sports.
Yeah, well, Robbie, I've been interested to get your thoughts on this. I know that you're a great advocate for mental health. So.
Well, yeah, I think it is very much required in sport, and I think it's something that often gets, just gets missed by the radar completely. And you need to be able to have a support system, because when you're performing at that level, it's not easy. It's a very sport can be a very lonely journey itself. Yeah. Because you're trying to better yourself whilst trying to better everybody else as well. So that can be truly isolating. And you get into the spiral sometimes when you get negative headspace, and then you just go spiral downwards, and then you suddenly find yourself in an abyss where you're like, how do I get out of this place? Yeah. You know, and
it'll be interesting to see how it goes at an Olympic village, though, isn't it? I mean, there's all the stories that do the rounds about Olympic villages and the parties that go on there, etc. Yeah. So maybe you do need a little bit of a quiet space, etc. Especially when so many. In fact, you know what we need? We need an Olympian. We need a Paralympian to join us in just a few. Oh, we've got one joining us in a few minutes' time as well, to find out not what goes on in the Olympic Village, because what goes on in the Olympics stays in the Olympic Village, but again, big focus on nutrition, big focus on social side of it, big focus on the training side of it. Maybe this is the addition that you need, that sort of quiet time that you don't think about.
Yeah, of course, because see, when you go to an Olympic Village, in fact, we were talking about this last night. My wife and I were talking about this, and we were discussing it amongst friends as to what that village is like for the athletes. You have to understand that these guys are high performance athletes, peak performance athletes at that, trying to get the best and trying to be the best in the world, right? And they compete and they train for a period of 4 or 5 years just for those 10 seconds, just for those 15 seconds, just for that 2 minutes, right? So to be the best in the world. And when they get there, there must be so much nervous energy that they're dealing with. They must want to find a way to just kind of deal with it. And imagine you're stuck in a village where everyone's got that same energy. So you're gonna go a little crazy there. So it's great to have these kind of products that are available there to just help them deal with that nervous energy, because that must be a lot to contend with.
Yeah, and you've raised such a valid point, because it's that, especially for an Olympic build, that 4 years of preparation physically and mentally to get you to yourself that one point.
Don't miss emotionally.
You might be, you're part of the the Irish curling team or something like that, and so you might not be a name that is readily known. You might have got yourself into that step, but for this big moment, you walk into the well, Usain Bolt wouldn't be at when the curling, that wouldn't go together. But you know what I mean. You're a sportsman. The first person you meet in the Olympic Village is Usain Bolt, and all that preparation has gone out the window straight away because of that crossover of sports, talents, and otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely, and it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
It can make you feel truly intimidated and take the focus away from you. You suddenly have, your focus on yourself becomes more macro than micro, and then that to realign yourself to that and to not feel lost amongst the whole village is also something that people have to contend with. And you know, my wife was a former international athlete as well. She was a former international tennis player, so she played the Junior Olympics, and she was explaining to me what the atmosphere is like. It's so competitive, and there's so much of nervous energy that's there because everyone's going to perform a skill the next day or the day after that, and your mate's performing a skill the day before you, or you're competing with your mate who you've trained with for the last 4 years. You're competing against them to win a medal. So there's a lot that goes around there. So I'm not surprised that they find different ways to deal with the nervous energy and the stress and the pressures of it. But this is a great initiative, and this is another way, an alternate way, which a lot of athletes anyway use on a day-to-day basis. They go to meditation, they go to, you know, they use different tools to kind of calm themselves down and stay aligned with their goals and dreams. So it's a great initiative.
It's the more you think about it, the Olympic Village is like a massive Big Brother house, isn't it?
It is. That into 10.
Well, let's find out a bit more from someone who's actually been at one for a few times, and coming up we are discussing that mindset and that perseverance and building that growth mindset with a renowned Paralympian. Plus, we've got a violinist on set, so stick around. It's good.